Hello, welcome back to the Diamonds of the Rough podcast. Back with Nate to do spreads. We had a pretty good week.
Yes.
Our parlay didn't hit.
No, the Bucks and the Niners really screwed that one. But I mean, hey, good week overall for the boys.
Yeah, we went 4-2. Both of us went 2-1. Nate's at 500.
Yes.
I'm 7-8 on the year, but I'm 6-3 in my last 9. If you want to look at it that way.
There you go. And shout out to Alec Pierce, by the way, for saving that cover for me on the Colts one.
Absolutely saved you.
That would have been another heartbreaker.
Yeah, but
1 by 2, 2.5 spread. That would have been another tough one. But hey, it happened. So let's go.
Yeah, just quick things about the games. The one I lost, the Niners one. My fault. Shouldn't have gone against the undefeated, Now 6-0 versus spread.
Yeah.
I was right that Denver was a lock, but I'm not too proud of it because
it got close there at the end.
The way that first quarter went, I was expecting the whole game to go where you're like, oh, this Broncos offense, this is how it's supposed to be. And it looked like it for a quarter. And even I just put out a Western Conference predictions podcast. I say in the thing, I'm like, I told you guys Denver would be a lock because it was up 10-0. And then they just stopped. And they're like, oh no.
Russ was cooking in the first quarter, and then wheels fell off after the first half. But hey, still got the cover, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, and then Brady being a terrible teammate, not going to Wednesday practice, not going to Friday practice, not going to Saturday walkthrough, and then yelling at his line.
Not looking
for throws he's missing pretty much. And just a tidbit, I think we should stay away from any Pittsburgh involvement because
you can't tell with them at this point.
I'm 1-3, or we as a collective group, I'm including Bobby, are 1-3 whenever Pittsburgh's involved in the game. As bad as they are.
Yep. And I told you they screwed me on my survivor pick. I picked the Bucks there, screwed me out of that. So
I'm pretty sure you even said in the pod, you were like, this probably isn't gonna hit because I went with Pittsburgh last week. And
exactly, they're just up and down. You can't predict them, I guess.
But that's enough of an intro. The boys are looking red hot. We're trying to get some 3-0s here. Trying to get some 3-0s. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Starting at home, Arizona, -1.5 versus New Orleans. The Thursday night games have been stinkers.
Yeah.
Even though, since I'm like a psychopath, I loved the last Thursday game.
It was almost like you thought you couldn't get as bad as the Broncos Colts game, and then at halftime of the last week's game, you're like begging for the Colts and Broncos to get back out on the field. It's like, oh my god.
I'm kind of weird. I kind of like those games because I'm like, at least it's close. And it makes every moment so crucial. Like even a 3-yard gain, you're like, that's pretty good. Whereas at Bills Chiefs, you'd be like, only 3 yards. Oh no, now it's 2nd and 7. But in those games, it matters.
Exactly that, and just all of Twitter, whatever, just completely shitting on the entire game. Just going all in on Amazon. It's like, oh my god, they're definitely entertaining in a way.
Yeah. So I struggle with these Thursday night picks. I really do. I'm going to go New Orleans simply because Marquise Brown was kind of the one bright spot of Arizona, and now he's done.
Yep.
So that's what I'm going. New Orleans is kind of impressive a little bit versus Cincy last week.
Yeah. They had the lead for a lot of that game, then just couldn't tackle Jamar Chase. So, they look good, and Arizona put up 3 points on one of the worst defenses in the league in Seattle. So yeah, I'm also going to go with the Saints here. 1.5. It seems like they're the better team, and I've been saying for a long time that Cliff Kingsbury's a bozo, and I'm going to keep saying it because he's just a
bad
coach. He's got to be on the hot seat here soon, even though I know they just gave him an extension or something.
The only plays that work on the Cardinals are not designed by Cliff Kingsbury. It's Kyler Murray going improv. Those are the only plays that ever work.
Exactly. No, it's just him running around, making something out of nothing and tossing it up to whoever. And sometimes it works, but it's not working too well so far this year.
What I do want to say is I saw an interesting stat that the Cardinals receiver Dortch, he leads the league in average yards of separation by 0.4 yards.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe they should be using him a little more.
I just found it interesting, but
Yeah.
we'll move on. Cincinnati -6.5 at home versus the undefeated Atlanta Falcons with the
Here we are.
spread.
Yeah.
I made the mistake last week of betting against them.
Mm-hmm.
The other tidbit is that the Falcons are 3-0 when Mariota completes 13 or more passes. It's another thing.
Isn't it less?
No, I think it's more.
Oh, is it more? Okay, I thought it was something crazy that they, or maybe it's a 10th or something like that.
Something like that. I don't know if I'd be able to live with myself if I bet against them and they won again.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to go with them. I'm going Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm going there too. I'm going with Atlanta here. You know, undefeated against the spread. You want to see them keep it going, and the Bengals looked a little shaky against the Saints last week. They ended up getting the win, but Atlanta here, I think they're gonna be able to cover again and keep this going. So I'm going also with the Falcons. So let's keep it rolling.
The Falcons.
Yeah.
Next up, Baltimore home -6.5 versus Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams really struggled.
Yep.
Baltimore's a 3-3 that should be at least 5-1. Maybe 6-0. I believe
can't hold those double-digit leads, I guess.
They can't hold those double-digit leads, no. Cleveland, they had a lot of injuries versus the Pats last week, a lot of key injuries, but that defense just isn't good.
Mm-hmm.
So Baltimore -6.5, it's a touchdown to win. I know they like to choke their leads, and they're at home, which is where they choke their leads.
Yeah.
And they haven't really been doing me right in these spreads.
No.
But I am going to go with them just because I think Cleveland is that bad. I really don't think they're good at all, and the injuries don't help.
Yeah, I would agree here. Here we go again, agreeing on a lot, but
worked last time, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So, Baltimore, like I said, they're a good team. They're one of the best teams in the AFC. They haven't really proved it so far this year, but the teams that they've lost to, the Giants are a good team, as we've seen. The Miami's a good team when they have Tua, so should be able to cover a touchdown here. And Baltimore should get back on track and be able to pull it out against a very struggling Browns team who has not looked good. And like you said, the defense has not looked good. So, yeah.
Next up, Dallas at home -6.5 versus Detroit. Gonna have to go against what I said because at the beginning of the year, or it might have been week 3, I was like, I'm going Detroit every week. I can't do it. I'm just throwing games at this point. So I'm gonna have to go Dallas. I think Dak might be playing, even if he's not.
Mm-hmm.
The Lions defense is so bad that Cooper Rush can dominate. Now, I don't like how everyone switched up as Cooper Rush because he played a bad game.
Yeah.
Everyone switched up so quick. Did you notice that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think Dallas got exactly what they wanted because, they came out 3-1 4-1 with the Cooper Rush starts. So, in the last game, he didn't play very well, so they can go back to their $250 man in Dak Prescott. All along it was going to be Dak. There was really never going to be a chance that Cooper Rush was going to start, in my opinion. But, after that game, a lot of people just really switched up, and everyone wants Dak again, which I guess they're going to, he should be able to play because I think they said he was cleared to practice this week, so he should be good to go.
Yeah, with Cooper Rush, I was one of the supporters in the sense of like more don't rush Dak and like until he gives you like a reason.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like I wouldn't worry about it too much. That was more my thing.
Yeah,
And he gave you a reason, clearly. So now it's like, yeah, you go to Dak now. Dak is a better quarterback. I don't think people were saying that. I think people were more saying if it ain't broke, don't fix it, which
right.
something to be said for that. But
Yeah, we're seeing some of the same thing going on in New England right now with Zappy, but we'll get to that later.
we'll get to that when they come up, I'm sure.
But in this game, I am gonna go with the Lions because off the bye, off that horrible showing against the Pats, I think they're gonna really come out and play better than they did last week. They have that bye week. Dak's back, so he might struggle a bit in the beginning, getting back to speed. Getting all that, just that report back with the wide receivers. So, and the Lions, excuse me, are even if they get down big, a lot of times they do get that backdoor cover. So, I wouldn't be surprised here if you see one of those backdoor covers. The 6.5 is a tough number, but I could see that happening for sure. So I'm gonna go with the Lions here to cover the spread.
So Nate's got the line scoring 38. Okay.
Definitely, it will not be a whatever you want to call it, a
low scoring game.
Yeah, definitely not, because Dallas should be able to pass and do whatever on Dallas like every other team has been able to do so far.
Yeah. All right. Washington at home, +5.5 versus Green Bay. I'm tempted to make it a lock, but I'm going Green Bay.
Yeah.
2 very poor games for them. Agreed.
Yes, very.
Or 3.
What was the one before that?
Well, Pats.
Right, yeah, and they barely beat.
The Pats.
Yeah.
Then the Giants.
And
now the Jets, right?
Yep, got smoked by the Jets.
What I do want to say is I think people are looking at the QB thing a little too much when they compare those games, because you do have to look and you have to say, okay, Pats was bad. Pats was definitely bad for sure, but the Pats defense is super good. And they scored 27 in overtime, which not great, but you're scoring.
And they did win, which the other 2 they didn't.
They did win. The Giants are 5-1, and I think you have to call them legit.
Yeah, definitely.
Because, and I'm also the Jets, honestly, because they're 4-2. I know they've been jokes for so long, but both their defenses are legit. The rookies they have are impacting the game massively. And they honestly play very similar to these Patriots teams without Brady, where it's just like Pop Warner style football. Yeah, Zach Wilson, Daniel Jones are throwing 110 yards a game, but
it's man football. They're playing man football.
They're making it like a rugby game out there.
Playing the ball and playing defense. That's what they're doing, and they're doing it to perfection.
So Green Bay is now getting a very easy opponent. Don't really care that they're at home, and they have to beat them by at least a touchdown. Think it's very manageable.
Yes, I'm gonna go with Green Bay here as well. I keep saying that they're gonna have a bounce back game eventually, a get right game, and they haven't been doing it. But Washington seems like a team that you can have a get right game against. They barely beat the Bears last week, and Carson Wentz is out. I like Heineke, but I don't think he's going to be able to get the job done against a great Packers defense, even though they haven't played great the past couple weeks. So the Packers should be able to cover this here and get back to what everyone thought they would be before this stretch right here. So yeah, I'm also going to go the Packers in this one.
All right. Next up, Tennessee -2.5 versus the Colts. Gonna keep it short and simple here. Just gonna go Tennessee. They just gotta win by a field goal. It's at home. They know it's a massive game. Believe it or not, I trust what they got more than what the Colts are doing, because the Colts stuff has been a little scary, even though with Pittman and Pierce, the offense looked a lot better, and maybe they get Jonathan Taylor back. But that backup running back looked like almost a better fit.
Jackson, yeah, what do you have, like 70 receiving yards, something like
He had
that?
10 receptions, I think 92 receiving yards. They're not better without Taylor. I'm just saying there's still early struggles, and the defense hasn't nearly been as good as I thought it would be.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I'm going to make this a lock. I'm going to go with the Titans as well. I keep picking these AFC South games for locks, and they did me well last week. The Titans did me well a couple weeks ago. So again, Titans off a bye. Mike Vrabel, I don't know what his record is off a bye, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty good. Derrick Henry against this defense should be able to run the ball and cover this spread. And yeah, the Titans are the better team here. They've really recovered from that tough first stretch of the game. So yeah, should be able to cover the 2.5. And yeah, I'm going with this as one of my locks.
Okay.
2.5.
Next up, Jacksonville at home, -2.5 versus the Giants we were just talking about.
This is surprising.
Which to me, this is another one of those Vegas things.
Yeah.
I called it a couple weeks ago with the Chargers, I believe, where it just doesn't make sense. Everything tells me that the Giants should be favored.
Mm-hmm.
They are 5-1. They have looked great. The Jaguars have choked some games. Turnovers seem to be an issue for them. But to me, Vegas knows something that we don't.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go Jaguars because everything wants me to lock Giants, even call it a lock because of the spread. But I'm just staying away whenever some funky stuff's going on because that to me is funky.
Yeah, exactly. That Vegas has got to know something, and this may be a trap, but I'm falling in the trap because I'm not picking against the Giants, especially with the Jags. So I'm going to go Giants here. The Giants are they seem, no matter what happens in every game, they just seem to be able to pull it out. And the Jags, they choked that game against the Colts last week. So yeah, Giants, I'm going to take them here. Dable, coach of the year. I feel like it's almost a lock at this point, right? I mean,
well, as long as they finish strong.
Exactly, right. He's the clear favorite at this point. So I think they're going to keep it rolling and definitely be able to cover here. And they're going to win against these Jags.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of think so. I'm just going with.
No, it's definitely fishy. Something is up with that line.
It usually works out for me when I think like that. So
exactly.
that's just what I'm doing.
Like I said, I'm going to fall in the trap. Giants here.
All right, Carolina at home +10.5 versus Tampa Bay. This is honestly one of the hardest games to pick because Tampa Bay has looked so bad, and Carolina is just not good at like anything.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
So it's you're going it's 10.5. It is quite a hefty spread, and Tampa hasn't shown they can cover those kinds of spreads yet.
Mm-hmm.
But PJ Walker at quarterback now
might not even be him. Jacob Eason came in last game. I don't know what the injury is to Walker, but if it's Jacob Eason, that should be an interesting one.
Like DJ Moore gets nothing.
Yeah,
because he doesn't have a quarterback. How long is McCaffrey going to keep trying for this team until he gets traded?
Yeah,
it's a very messy situation over there.
Mm-hmm. What are you thinking?
I can't possibly bet Carolina. I just can't do it. They're so bad. I will happily lose this if Tampa doesn't cover, but I just can't in my right mind bet Carolina. Like, I don't even know what they'll score. Like, I would bet max like 6 points is what they get.
Oh yeah, they're not gonna be able to push the ball against this Bucks D, and yeah, it's a big line, but you going Bucks though?
I am going Bucks.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Bucks as well. This is very similar to the game last week for the Panthers in the Rams game. You know, it was I think that was a 10.5 point spread as well. Um, they looked good in the first half, and then even so, they still could not cover that huge number. So the Bucks are another team that I keep saying is going to have a bounce back game and cover the spread, but they don't. But if any team is kind of like I said with the Commanders and the Packers, if if any team is able to break a slump for a team, it's the Carolina Panthers. So I'm gonna go with the Bucks and the points here as well.
All right. Next up's my first lock,
hmm
and it's going to be Vegas minus 7.5 over Houston. Vegas is at home. To me, Vegas just had the bye. I believe they did. Yeah.
Yep.
And they kind of just have to get going. Like their schedule is very easy for a while. This is where things have to figure out. They have to figure things out. I do think there's been some issues, but they should have won that KC game. There were a lot of things that were looking really right for them.
Yeah.
Houston isn't a good team.
Yeah.
They're at home. I think they're gonna pull this out. I don't know exactly what the score is going to be, but they should win by more than a touchdown.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna make this a lock for me as well with the Raiders. Like you said, coming off a bye, the Raiders are one of these teams that a lot of people said they could win a stacked AFC West at the beginning of the year, and I'm sure they still have a lot of those same goals, and they believe that they can still win the AFC West. And the Texans are not a good football team. They sneaked out a win last or 2 weeks ago against the Jags, and you know, the Raiders should be able to get back on track here off a bye, get something rolling, and yeah, like you said, they're up 17-0 against the Chiefs. They should be able to
on the road too.
Exactly. They should be able to easily handle this Texans team that is just not a good football team.
I think that was the first game you saw the vision.
Exactly.
And
they just got to keep pounding it with Jacobs. That opens the play action up to get those Devontae deep bombs, and it works.
Yeah. Next up, Denver at home, minus 2.5 versus the Jets. The New York disrespect this week, huh?
Crazy, yeah.
Denver hasn't looked good.
Terrible.
Russell Wilson,
except for that first quarter, I guess.
Except for that first quarter, that was the vision.
Exactly.
Russell Wilson's dealing with a hamstring injury. He's probably going to play, but issue there. Running back issues. I'm not totally sure why they sat Melvin Gordon, but it won me fantasy because I was up 3.
There you go. He wasn't very sure either why he got benched.
Made no sense. Made absolutely no sense. And I think that isn't a problem for that offense if you're not going to play him.
Yeah. Latavius Murray looked all right, but I mean, Melvin
Gordon could do the same thing, if not more.
Exactly. Yeah.
Did the fumbles, but he didn't fumble in the game. So
exactly. He's been in the doghouse for a little bit, and he does have very big fumble issues, but that didn't seem to matter when Javonte Williams was healthy and they were giving him carries, and now all they have is Latavius Murray and Mike Boone, and they're choosing them over him. It's a mess over there for sure.
Yeah. But I'm going to go Jets. I think their style matches up with the tough road game because they're a very run-first offense. They hit on that Breece Hall pick. He's starting to be very good.
Yeah.
Wilson's doing his best limiting the turnovers, which this is the formula the Jets, Giants, and Patriots are following right now.
Yeah.
Run first, don't turn over the ball, rely on your defense and special teams, and it's working for all 3 of them.
It's that Northeast offense.
You're going to have Sauce on Sutton, so I think he's going to be shut down pretty well. And the rest of that Jets defense is pretty good to contain a struggling Broncos offense. The Broncos defense has been really good the whole year, to be fair.
Yeah,
I think that is something that people forget when they talk about the Broncos.
definitely. I mean, they only let up 16 last night, and then 12 the week before, and one touchdown in the past 2 games, and they're 0-2.
Yeah, but I'm also picking the Jets because I'd be very happy if I lost this.
Exactly. Yeah. Get the Pats up the.
It's a win-win for me.
Exactly. In this one, so originally I wrote all these games down on my phone before this. Originally I had the Jets, but I'm gonna switch it to the Broncos. The Jets are a very good team, and I doubted them last week as well, and they proved me wrong. But the Broncos need this win. The Jets had a lot going into last week. They had a lot of things that went their way with the rain. I think that really helped with their style of offense, style of football overall that they wanted to play. They got that punt block touchdown. I'm not sure that all those things that that went their way in that game will go their way again in this one. And the Broncos, you'd think they have to figure it out eventually. I don't know if they are, but I'm just going to take them here because they still are. Like you said, their defense has been really good. I think they'll be able to limit the Jets offense for sure, who has looked good, but I'm going to go with the Broncos here, right the ship a little bit.
They could figure it out. To me, it's all on Wilson and the coach because
Exactly.
I don't know what the coach is doing in overtime, doing 2 runs in a row.
No.
Like first run's of 1 yard, 2nd and 9, you're going to run it again.
They just don't trust him, it seems. They don't trust the passing game.
I also don't blame them. Like,
Yeah.
what play was it? It was like 3rd and 3, gotta have it first down.
The first drive, right?
No, this is like end of the game.
Oh, okay.
The first drive, I know what you're talking about, but
Yeah.
it happened at the end. This is like, if they get this first down, they probably only need one more first down to get into field goal range and win the game.
Yeah.
It's like 3rd and 3. He tries to force this ball into KJ Hamler, which he underthrows, and Hamler doesn't have a chance to get it, really. He's also double teamed. And the tight end is just wide open for 5 yards with space to run.
He's just not making the right decisions.
It was one of those passes where, like, the tight end was in his vision when he was throwing to Hamler. It's not like he had to look across the field. It's like he was right there.
Mm-hmm.
And he did do it in the first drive.
Yeah, exactly. That was another one.
But it's like he's just making stupid decisions, and it's like you're too old to be making stupid decisions.
Yeah, and the whole thing about Russell Wilson, most of his career is he always made the right decision, aside from at the 1 yard line in the Super Bowl. But we'll get past that. But it's that was always a big thing about him, is he made the right decision, and he's just not doing it this year. It's definitely weird.
The one thing you saw a bit of, I'd say like half the time, was his ability to create plays, get out of sacks and make plays on his feet and throws on the run. He did attack, like it was the first time all year we'd seen him do it, and he actually did do it a couple times. But for every time he does that, he just falls down for sacks 3 times. He just holds the ball on for too long.
Exactly. He's got me and my friends call it Matt Ryan disease. Matt Ryan does that a lot as well.
Yeah.
Just hold the ball way too long, not throw it away, and just take a dumb sack. He's infuriating sometimes.
No, he doesn't look good. But we'll move on.
Yeah.
San Fran at home +2.5 versus KC. KC coming off a loss to Buffalo at home, but I think every single person anticipated it. Yeah. Buffalo was getting their revenge. They just were.
I was the only one that didn't.
Okay, fair enough. But
I didn't make it a lock though, so it doesn't even count.
Exactly. I'm just gonna go with KC. I could easily see this being a bounce back game for San Fran, where they go back to, I shouldn't say go back. It's just San Fran needs to not go down multiple scores early.
Yeah.
Because it's looking like Jimmy G is the better quarterback for this team now, but that shoulder injury, along with all his other past injuries, is starting to add up. He doesn't have the same zip on the ball. Their offense is super one-dimensional, so when they need to get scores, Kyle Shanahan looks in his playbook and there's 80 plays of wide receiver screens to Debo. It's such a one-dimensional offense, and they never go for like big plays, which it's really hard to score a ton of points when you're relying on 5-yard chunk plays to march all the way up the field.
Exactly. Yeah. You and me were texting about this on Sunday. The best game plan for the Niners is when they're up, and when they get down, it's very hard for them to, get those chunk plays and get back in the game quickly. So, that was a tough one for them when they went down that quickly, that early. It was just, it seemed like they had no chance, really.
I don't even know if I want to say it's hard. They just don't design for it. Like
Right.
they have nothing in their playbook for that, which doesn't make sense to me also, because it's like, is this how you built your offense around Trey Lance too? Because that's going to be terrible for his development if he only knows how to do wide receiver screens and slant routes. Like,
Exactly.
did you have a whole new playbook for Jimmy? Like it doesn't make much sense to me.
I don't know.
I'm sick of this. I'm sick of Kyle Shanahan's a mastermind. He's not.
Yeah, no, he's not a mastermind. He's a good coach, but he's got a lot of flaws. Sometimes he doesn't know how to coach with the lead, like in multiple Super Bowls. Sometimes he doesn't know to coach from behind. So I think, he's definitely one of those guys that he gets that mastermind tag, but not.
I think he's a
recently
bottom half of coaches easily. Like not even really close to me, and I'd be willing to argue with anyone on that. But
I'd put him right in that like middle tier, like 13 to 18 around there. He's definitely not this top 5 coach that everyone makes him out to be.
I think you have a better argument of him as bottom 5 than top 5. Truthfully, I really don't think he's good.
Still no Super Bowls, so
so we're both going KC.
Yes, I'm gonna go with KC as well. It's very tough to see them losing back-to-back games. Niners as well, but Pat Mahomes, he doesn't lose back-to-back games very often, and I don't see it happening here either. So KC.
Next up, Chargers at home, -6.5 versus Seattle. Chargers don't look good, really. I know they're 4-2, but they are 3-0. Once since they've been using Eckler.
Yes, sir.
I'm going Seattle. I really like that finally Kenneth Walker is the running back. He was my favorite running back in the class. He's been very good for them.
Yeah.
Gino also. I'm not going to be like these delusional people that are like, he's number 1 in passer rating or whatever the stats are, right? Like, he's good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't consider Gino a bottom tier quarterback like you would heading into the season. He's a serviceable quarterback.
Definitely.
And they have a lockdown corner in Tariq Woolen, I would say.
Yeah,
he's been fantastic.
I saw he already tied Richard Sherman's rookie interception total with 4. So he's been balling absolutely.
Yeah, he's not the best rookie corner. We know who that is.
Of course.
Jack Jones, of course. No, there's a lot of good rookie corners. It's pretty absurd, but
Marcus Jones had a good game.
Marcus Jones had a good game. We obviously know
that they didn't call, but
we obviously know about Sauce. Stingley's very good. Bunch of good corners in this rookie class.
Definitely. I'm also going to go with the Seahawks here. The Chargers defense has not looked very good, and Gino has been able to pass the ball on bad defenses so far this year. So, and like you said, Kenneth Walker looked really good. So Seattle, they should be able to go in here and cover this. Chargers should not be getting this many points against a 500 team. I don't think so. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Seattle here as well. Be able to cover this 6.5. They're a lot better than I thought they were gonna be, and a lot of people as well. So they're definitely silencing that noise and looking good.
Yeah. 2 games left. These games aren't great, and I was like, why? And it's because the 2 best teams in the NFL are on bye in the Eagles
Yeah.
and the Bills. But moving on, Miami is favored by 7.5 at home versus Pittsburgh. Absolute stay away.
Yeah, no way.
Is it going to be? I think there's thinking it's Tua.
Yeah, they said that they expect him to be able to go on Sunday, so we'll see, I guess, but should be Tua.
I'm going Miami. I think those receivers are going to absolutely feast on that Pittsburgh defense. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I'm also gonna go with the Dolphins, and we've gotten screwed. Well, I've gotten screwed by the Steelers every week so far on this podcast. So I'm expecting it to happen again. But yeah, I think the Steelers got their big underdog win last week against the Bucks, so don't see it happen again here. And Tua back for the Dolphins, that's a very good sign. Should be able to, like you said, Tyreek and Waddle should be able to absolutely feast on this defense. So I'm going with Miami to cover that spread.
Yep. All right, final game, New England at home, -7.5 versus Chicago. This is a tough one for me. I'm going to be that guy. It matters who the quarterback is in my mind.
Definitely.
If Zappy is the quarterback, I'm 100% positive in the Patriots, believe it or not. And that is not to say I think Zappy should start. I'm simply saying Mac off of the ankle injury, I'm not sure what to expect. He's had a bunch of dumb turnovers. And the whole reason the Patriots have been successful with Zappy is because they go, don't turn over the ball. The defense and special teams will be the reasons we win the game, and we're going to run the ball. And that's like been the formula.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it'll work against Chicago because they've played 2 terrible teams before. So why wouldn't it work against arguably a worse team than both of them?
Yeah.
So with Zappy, I'm confident in the spread. With Mac, I'm worried about dumb turnovers, but I'm still going to go New England. Basically, if I knew Zappy was in, I'd call it a lock, but I don't. And I'm worried Mac will do some stupid interceptions. Hopefully not.
Yep. I'm also going to go New England here. Like you said, it should still be Zappy because New England is seemingly trying to give Mac his time to be able to get healthy, get back to 100%. I'm not sure if he will probably be the starter when he comes back. But yeah, Zappy has looked real good. He just hasn't made any dumb rookie mistakes like we've seen from other rookie quarterbacks. And yeah, that like you kind of talked about with that, the Giants, Jets, Patriots, they all play kind of the same. Don't make mistakes. Let the defense, let the running game win you those games. And Zappy should continue to. I mean, like you said, the Bears don't scare me because the Cleveland and the Lions defenses didn't scare me either. So Zappy should be able to keep it going, and they're on a roll. They're looking good. So I'm also going to go with the Pats here. And like I said, I just never bet against the Pats, so I would have gone them anyway. But
yeah. I'm also not like outrageous in saying the Jets, Giants, and Pats play like similar, right? Like I think.
Oh yeah, I think it's a good comparison.
I think it's pretty apparent, and because I just haven't heard anyone like mention that, but to me it's very obvious. It's like the 3 are now well-coached teams winning because of their defense and special teams, and their QBs not making mistakes. Exactly. The Pats are, based on statistics and rankings, are like the 4th best team in the NFL, which take it with a grain of salt because 2 of their best performances are against garbage. But Those
Yeah,
three teams are on the right trajectory right now.
definitely. You've seen it with the Giants and the Jets pretty much all year, especially these past few weeks. And it seemed like the Pats were getting away from it a bit at the beginning of the year. They were kind of trying to unleash Mac a little more instead of simplifying it. And now that they have Zappy in there, they've gotten back to, just simplifying it, really trying to make it easy on the quarterback and the defense to win those games. I'm hoping that once Mac comes back and is healthy, that they go back to that because it's clearly working. And I don't know why they went away from it for those first few games, but it's definitely working for Zappy right now, and it should be able to keep it going against another bad team in the Bears.
To be fair with Mac, what I do want to say, the goal with Mac as your quarterback is that he's a Super Bowl quarterback.
For sure.
And in order to be a Super Bowl quarterback, you need to add some things to your game, like being able to have multiple reads, multiple options. The coach needs to have more trust in you. And I think this year they were trying to get to that point, and they were opening up the playbook more for him and allowing him to take a lot of shots. There's a reason he has a lot more deep throws, a lot more big impact plays. He has more big impact plays than last year, and he has more turnover worthy plays. It's a give and a take. So I think they are trying to learn from that.
Definitely.
With Zappy, it was just steer the ship to wins right now. So we're going to go back to making it simple for him. He's not doing a ton of reads. I'm still one who's going to acknowledge and say what he's done is very impressive and should be acknowledged as impressive and something that Pats fans should be excited about.
Yeah.
I want to ask you one more thing before we get into our final decisions on locks.
Yeah.
I said this in the Pats review, which is out now, and I got laughed at for asking this question, but I think it's a very good question.
Okay.
What do you think is Bailey Zapp's trade value now if they were to trade him tomorrow or something?
I mean, so he was a 4th round pick.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, I still don't think you could get a 1st or a 2nd because it's still like people understand that Bill Belichick has done this so many times with different quarterbacks. Mac came in last year as a rookie and looked really well, and that's nothing against Mac. But he's done this, with Matt Castle, with Jimmy G, Jacoby Brissett, and then those guys have good careers outside of that. But I don't think it. I think you could get maybe a 2nd or a 3rd for Zappy at this point, but 2 games kind of seems like a bit of and he's been great, a lot better than expectations a lot of people had for him, but it just seems a bit too reactionary to say you could get a 1st or like a high 2nd for him. So I think maybe a 3rd, maybe a 2nd for if a team's really desperate for a quarterback. What did you say?
I think 2nd.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Castle for a 2nd. Granted, he had a whole year of playing. Jimmy G really only had 1.5 games as the Patriots starter, which is less than Zappy.
Yeah.
His first game was more game managing.
Yeah.
Really, it was a team when he had some good throws, kind of similar to Bailey Zapp's game against Detroit. The second game, they really let him loose. I think he had 3 TDs and like 200 plus yards after a half. Similar with Zappy, had 300 plus yards, 2 touchdowns. Zappy's on the first year of his rookie deal, so there's a ton of team control with a very cheap contract. So I think a 2nd round pick is very reasonable. My whole point of saying it is this Bailey Zapp experiment, you've already gotten your return on investment, and it's something worth noting.
Yeah, definitely.
That was my whole point. But
yeah, I don't think it's crazy to say a 2nd. It's just 3rd
team
seems
would do it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. 3rd seems a little more reasonable to me, especially with the rookie class coming in next year, how stacked it's supposed to be. So I'm not sure that a team would be willing to part with a 2nd round pick, especially with that deep class next year. But who knows?
Yeah.
Teams, and I'm not saying it's a dumb decision, but teams make reactionary and dumb decisions all the time. So who knows? It is possible, and like you said, down the road, in a couple years, maybe if if Mac is the guy and then you want to trade Zappy, I think possibly in a year or two you could possibly get a second for him.
I mean, I'm just saying it's Rodgers last year in Green Bay. They're not going to have as good a pick, but
No,
let's get into the locks just so we can wrap this up.
Mm-hmm.
I had only mentioned Vegas. I added my 2. Dallas is my favorite pick, -6.5 over the Lions. That's my lock of locks.
Okay.
And then I'm adding Green Bay.
Okay.
So those are 3 game of the week. I'm going to go with.
All right. So I had the Titans and the Raiders, right?
Yes.
So for my third lock, so for my lock of locks, I'm going to go with the Titans. That just off of by Mike Vrabel, I think they'll have them fired up for sure. And then my third lock, I'm gonna go with the Giants. I'm falling into the trap, baby.
Just going for it. Fair enough. So my game of the week, I'm gonna say is Atlanta, Cincinnati.
Hey,
Just got a feeling it's gonna be a good game. I don't know.
We'll see if they can live up to that undefeated against the spread still. So
because hey, when I took the obvious choice, it's been wrong.
True. And I guess I'll go. I don't know if it's obvious, but I'm gonna go with the Niners Chiefs game. Probably the obvious choice, you know.
Yep.
Both those teams really need a win coming off a loss, so should be a good battle. And yeah, I'm hoping for a high scoring game, but every time I hope for that, it seems like it's not. So I'm hoping for a low scoring game. Let's say that.
All right, Nate. Appreciate you joining. Hopefully we can get our records up. We can get some undefeated weeks here, but we'll see. So that's gonna be it from us. Take care, everyone, and see you next time.
See you.